by trying to find someone else's language, so I'm personalizing for somebody else, I'm learning and seeing something from so many different perspectives. So I'm learning and growing at the exact same time. So I'm like, oh, wait, I never thought of it from that angle before either. Oh, wait, that actually makes it make more sense to me now that I taught them that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's such a fun thing. And watching someone in that aha moment, because not only is it like super cool and like, I feel like I just helped you tap into another piece of yourself, but also it's so validating for the learner to be like, oh, okay, I get it now, because you took the time to change it for me, like to switch it up and put it in a language that I understand. Hi, I'm Amber.
And I'm Elayna. We're glad you're here to join us where
everything is learning.
Morning. How's it going?
Hi. Oh, pretty good. How about yourself?
Not bad.
Okay, can I just say, I had the cutest conversation with what grade is she in? Like a third grader the other day. Mm-hmm. And she was telling me about her best friend and how like, she's like, my best friend and I, we have a lot in common, but we also have a lot that's not in common. And I think it's a really good, like, you know, the things we have in common are good because we can talk about those, but the stuff we don't have in common, it's not that important stuff, but like, we get to like teach each other things. And I was like, what third grader said what?
I know.
Oh my God, I love it.
Well done to the learning mentors in that little one's life. No
kidding, right? I was like, you're amazing. I feel the exact same way.
She's making those choices for herself.
Right? And thinking about it.
Love.
Yeah, she's amazing, dude. She's so great.
That's so cool.
You know, another thing that's really cool about her is that I'll ask a question. And you know me, I'm chomping at the bit. Before a question is asked, I'm ready to answer it. Halfway through your question, I'm like, I got it. I know. No. She'll sit there and I'll ask a question and we'll sit and it'll be quiet for a while. And I always get to the point where I'm like, okay, is it too quiet? Has it been too long? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's literally just sitting there and thinking. She like wants to formulate her best answer for every question. I'm like, you have so much more patience and like the ability to collect those things and take your time with it. So much more maturity in that than I will ever have. And you're in third grade. She's amazing. Wild. That's so cool. Yeah.
I feel like we're really blessed to be able to work with super cool learners. Like
100%.
Of all ages. It's really wild.
I was going to say, because let's be honest, every learner is a super cool learner.
Yeah, for sure.
Every brain is so fun and interesting and different and like another thing to figure out. And I love helping someone see something about themselves that they maybe have always thought was kind of like negative or like they've, you know, heard messages about, and I'm like telling them how good that thing is, how I wish I had that trait or whatever. And they're like, wait, really? That makes me special in a good way? Yeah.
And doesn't it change like every conversation following that? It's amazing how crazy that is, how impactful those conversations can be.
And that's how we know that there is limitless transformation available to us all. You know what I mean? There's so much opportunity for all of us. Like, and I was thinking too about how I don't call myself a teacher, but you know, that's what society says. We're a teacher. Do you know how much I learn as a teacher?
From our learners? It's wild.
Yeah. I feel like I learn more from
than I teach.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I completely
Cool.
agree. And the wild thing too is like, you know that you're doing something right when every single year you're doing something is different.
Yes.
I mean, every single session that I have with a learner is completely different from learner to learner, but also from like session to session.
Right.
It's wild. And I'm not saying that some things aren't the same, but because you and I believe we're so emotionally invested, but also we're extremely passionate about personalized learning.
Right.
And that's really where we thrive with the people that we work with.
Yeah, and where they thrive.
Oh, of course.
As a result, too. Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, personalized learning is the single greatest gift a learning mentor can give a learner, or even we can give ourselves. Truly.
Yes.
And you talked about
1,000%
transformation.
yes.
It's such a transformational idea.
Yep.
And format for learning because it's learning centered, meaning you, the learner, are the focus, the creator, the innovator, the person who's in the driving seat of your own learning.
Yep.
And I don't think that that's something that everybody, I do believe that it's happened for everyone at some point in their life that they've had an instance of personalized learning.
I
but
hope
it's
so. God
not
will. Yeah.
something. Yeah,
I
but
would
it's
think so.
not something that people get every day, all the
No.
time.
Nope.
And I just think it's amazing.
And because I think I know that I have personalized a lot of things to myself for my own experiences over time. You know what I mean? So it's also one of those things that, like, the more you learn about it and see it happen, the more you do it for yourself, the more you can, because it's not a societal norm in any way to personalize things. Right? Like, society says the good words of everybody is special, everybody's unique, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, culturally, you better be the exact same. So you better take your really fancy diamond shape block of you and fit it into this very boring, small, circular hole.
Right.
And it's like, no thanks. I'd rather actually be outside the box. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'd rather there be no hole, no box, no anything. Let's just blow that up.
Right. Yeah.
It's really interesting because you're right. I think in so many ways in what you were just saying, it's really fascinating. And there's also that other side where it's like not every kid deserves a trophy and all of that. I think that societally is a conversation that people are having. But it's very interesting when you look on Etsy.
Yeah.
Or you look at certain things that are trending right now.
Right.
Personalization is like, get your own bag.
Oh my God, that's such a good
initials
point.
on it. You know what I mean?
And
like
how many times I know my name was always on a keychain at like a gas station on a road trip or whatever.
And mine never was.
And I have a sister who, like, a couple sisters whose their names never were.
Nope.
And that hurt them. That was like, I've even seen people post videos about like the wounds still that they carry that like can never find their name because it is important to us. Right. Even a keychain at a gas station on a road trip.
Right.
If you can't find, if it's not personalized to you, it hurts. It doesn't feel good. You don't feel valuable. You don't feel heard, significant, important. The second you find your name on a keychain, they know me. I matter enough to have my name on a keychain. How special am I? Wow.
That's really a fantastic point. It's very eye-opening too, because I think you hit personalized learning like on the head with that. I do
because it's such a like not cliche, but it's such an educational term.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Traditional format of education for sure, and there's all different kinds of learning, but personalized learning really is the pinnacle of learning, is my belief.
Can you start with just giving us a good definition for it? Just so we all are like on the same page operationally.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the definition that I function off of is just the fact that personalized learning, it's in the name, right? It's personalized to you. Right. It's learner centered. It means you're the focus. You are the creator. You are the person who is driving your own learning.
Right.
And then there's a learning mentor on the side who's helping you get to your destination, meet your goal, help you along your wandering way. So,
and I think one distinction, because I think sometimes people can hear that and be like, but there are certain things we all have to know. So if you get to dictate what you're learning, how do you learn the things that I need you to learn? Those kind of things. So I think there's a place of like, yes, it is driven by the learner. So they are picking some of the things they want to learn, but it's also focused around how they learn, what they need to be successful, what kind of environment do they need, what information do they need, even what are some interests they have, right? Like all that kind of stuff would be included.
Right. And I think that's another thing too, is in the previous conversation, we were talking about how there's so many obstacles to learning. There's a lot of challenges, like time,
especially in a formal setting.
Right. In a formal, traditional educational setting. There are some, you have educational standards, you have you know, we have to get through this unit at this particular time. And
Right.
you and I have been there. We've been in the
Right.
classroom for years and talking about all of that and how stressful it can be to try to make sure you get to a unit before winter break or, you know, whatever.
Right.
The thing is that we also know when teaching, I mean, at one point you were teaching English and I was teaching history and, you know, in addition to our other jobs.
Right.
But when we were doing that, we were given certain things that we needed to accomplish.
Yeah.
But a lot of it really was giving voice and choice. And I do think, as much as that is, I feel very cliche saying that, and it seems like almost a nursery rhyme.
Right.
But if you're feeling like personalized learning is just too over the top, you can start by individualizing. And I think individualized learning is a great step towards personalization, but it is not at all the same thing. And I think where that goes to for me is, I had mentioned earlier that at some point in our lives, every human has had a personalized learning experience.
Yep.
And I think it really starts at home. And I really think that most people don't even realize they're personalized learning for people in your home or for even yourself.
Right.
But we were talking about monograms and we were talking about name keychains and stuff.
Yeah.
That's great. But I'm talking about learning experiences, right?
Right.
So I started, when I was thinking about, you know, where did that start for me? Or where does it start for other people? I started with my children and I was like, oh man, the reality is when we're infants at home, for the most part, everything is actually personalized already, right? So I've spoken before about how I think curiosity, part of the reason curiosity dies is because it's no longer quote unquote cute to ask questions or to be curious.
Right. I mean, it's that typical like, oh my God, if my child asked me why one more time, my head might explode. Right? Like you get annoyed with the why.
Right.
Which again,
for sure.
I say, just ask them.
Right.
Flip it around. If you get annoyed, just ask them. Why? Tell me why. Why do you think?
Why do you think that?
Why do you
tell
think?
me more.
You don't have to answer every question. Encourage them to think and come up with questions and then validate their answer. Be like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought of that before. Right?
For sure.
Like, tell me more. Why do you think that? Like, just, and then the onus is off you. You're not even leading anything anymore. You're just listening.
Which is you're talking about onus, which I love. You could also put the onus back on them and say, you know what? I don't actually know that answer. Even if you do, even if you know why school buses are yellow, for instance, I don't actually know. Why don't we go figure that out together?
Exactly. Which is again why I loved the title. Like why I love what we call it. This Everything is Learning, because I think it's such a mantra you can hold on to.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, everything's
it's applicable
learning,
to everything.
Because everything's
That's why we
learning.
call it Everything is Learning.
Oh my God, it makes so much sense. But that's
I think that infantile stage, though, it's something we can all connect to. We were all infants at some time. But if you're thinking
but you're
back,
totally right. That is really when curiosity dies, right? It's like when it's not cute anymore, when it's taking time, you know. I got so much stuff to do that I can't pause right now to answer or whatever.
Right. Time, figure it out yourself. Expectations,
all those same things,
all of the stuff we talked about.
Yep.
I do think the interesting part, though, is the reason that I think it's so easy and it's already happening at home is because learning mentors, parents, whomever, who are watching these learners or, you know, watching infants or taking care of them or whatever it might look like. If infant shows that they are passionate or curious about something, for instance, one of the ones that comes to my head all the time is like dinosaurs or Wheels on the Bus, or like a particular book or a song, or one of my nephews loves Bluey. I don't even know what it is. I think it's like a dog.
You don't know about Bluey?
I can't.
Shut up. You're going to love Bluey. You need to watch some Bluey.
Really?
Yes.
Are you sure? People say that about Peppa Pig because I love all things like
Peppa
British.
Pig is, no.
Okay.
No.
And I was
Bluey's
like, no,
from Australia. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Bluey was written for kids.
Really? That's fascinating.
Bluey,
right.
I think
Don't
Bluey's
tell me more. Don't tell me more.
I just think it's written for
I'll
the
watch
adults.
an episode later.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So yeah,
like
but what
beautiful,
I'm saying
and they
is,
have Australian accents too, and they're cute little dogs. So
I
like,
love an
obviously,
accent.
super great.
Love an accent.
Okay, I want to reconvene after a Bluey episode, and then we'll chit chat.
Yeah.
But yes, carry on. Sorry.
No, you're good. Where I was going with it is exactly where you were going with it, which is when somebody becomes passionate about something, especially when they're young and curiosity is cute and all of that, parents learning mentors, throw things at it. It's like, oh my gosh, you like dinosaurs? Oh my gosh, you like Bluey? Let's get you.
Listen, can I tell you how many names of dinosaurs I've had to learn for my nephews?
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Can I tell you that when I was young, I was like, I knew dinosaur names, but they changed in the last couple years. Like, oh yeah, that's a brontosaurus. Tonti. That is not. That is a blah 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 saurus. Bruh. What? Anyway.
Did I tell you about
every birthday, what do I buy him?
Oh, of course.
Something dinosaur related, right? Every birthday.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Oh, I got so many books for you if you need help with that, by the way.
All sorts of things. I think now he might be moving on to a little bit. So hang on. Let's hold off on the handing me some more stuff for him. But yeah.
Well, but you get what I'm saying,
100%, right?
It's so innate to parents, to learning mentors with infants, to want to give them something they're passionate about.
Right.
And you don't even realize, but you're personalizing it to their likes. You know what they don't like. For instance, if you try to introduce new foods to an infant, or you try to introduce a new show, I'm telling you, my children are obsessed with Elemental and Coco.
That's so great.
The first few times, my 1.5-year-old is singing in Spanish now.
I love that. That's fantastic.
And she doesn't understand anything, but she's trying so hard and she's doing it with so much passion, and it's really, really cute.
It's so great.
But I also
she doesn't know it's a different language. That's the best part. She has no idea that some people look at learning a new language like, that is so hard. How is your child? She has no idea.
Yeah, please understand too. Like, it's not like she talks and walks around the house right.
But I'm just Spanish. Saying, because she's brand new to the earth, she's just learning everything. Yeah, she's just repeating whatever sounds she hears. Right. Most of them happen to be in English, but if you're playing something in Spanish, she's just learning the sound. She's just hearing it, picking it up. It's such a brains are amazing.
It's so
brains
cool.
are so cool. So cool. I love it, dude. It's so fascinating. Huge proponent of feeding the brain.
Yes. And that's what personalized learning is.
Yep.
Amber, that's what it is. It's feeding the brain.
100%. Yeah.
It's feeding the brain in the best possible way you can, because you're already curious and in love with whatever it is you're learning. Yeah. Because you're in control.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And having that time to explore, right? So if your child likes trucks. So you give them trucks. That's what you do. And then you take them outside. And you put no constraints. I mean, safety ones, obviously. Sure. Please don't disregard that. But then you just watch them play.
Right.
You want to know what's better than any TV?
Play.
Watching kids play, I think.
Yeah.
And engaging with it's fun too, but letting them lead. It is so fun because you're just sitting there watching, how do they know how to do that? Yeah. How do they know how to do that? I've never taught them that. Where did they get that from? And you just see the spongeness of the brain.
We just had an experience with that an hour ago before my kids went down for nap.
So exciting.
They play with these eggs that you open up, and it's different colors and different shapes.
Yeah.
So each
they have
of my
the zigzag
kids,
edges around them.
Some of them do. Yes, they come in a carton. Yes. It's like a best-selling thing. My sister,
I taught preschool 20 years ago, so I know. So things haven't changed.
I got this for the kids last, I don't know, whatever it was. It was a gift.
Yeah.
And they play with them every single day.
Right.
But they're still learning shapes. They know their colors. And some of them are obviously harder to say than others, but
sure.
Each of them has a particular egg that they love out of the dozen.
That's so funny.
So one of them loves red triangle and the other one loves blue circle. And whenever they open it, they give it to each other to make sure that they have the egg. Is it the color or is it the
shape?
It's both. Because some of them are also red and some of them are also blue.
That makes sense. Look, see, we're thinking like scientists now too. That's fun.
There you go. And what happened today was when they open the one that they love, I say their nickname and I say the color. So I'm like, red triangle, baby. And then I say the nickname, which is for my son is Hootie. So I said, red triangle, baby, Hootie.
That's so cute.
And all of a sudden, my daughter opens it up today and says it. And my husband and I lost our mind. We were like, what? Like, what? Where did you learn that? Oh, from us, because we always do that.
Yeah.
But like, it's wild. And then they put the shapes back together so they know how to take the eggs apart.
Right.
Which is always more, like destroying things is always like a first step in developmental learning for infants. And then building is the second. Yeah, well,
in a lot of things.
Don't we all destroy things first and then we fix it later?
Learning as a whole. Like I talk to my students about this all the time, that you have to do a little bit of destroying ideas sometimes to build new ones.
Oh, 100%.
Like that is, it is just a part of it.
Especially societal norms, right?
Oh, God.
Or educational norms and things like
that. Or ideas of things. Right, for sure. You know
but
what else
it just got me
yeah,
thinking.
That's so fantastic. Sorry, keep interrupting. Keep going.
It was just like, it got me thinking about, so my kids, they love eggs, they love cocoa, they love music. They really love music. They love this one book that I think is absolutely fantastic that everybody should read if they haven't read it. It's called Zin Zin Zin, a Violin. It's amazing. If you haven't read it, Amber, I swear it'll be one of your favorite books of all time.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It introduces all these different instruments. But anyway.
So fun.
For me, when I was younger, it was dancing, basketball, baseball. For my baby sister, my youngest sister, it was Barney. For my older sister, it was rocks and minerals. We were all obviously very different human beings.
Right? But that's important.
Do you remember?
That's important to know and recognize and identify.
And my parents did. And
like, I think that's one of the things, because like that is so important to validating each individual.
Yeah.
Because we aren't all the same. Thank God we aren't all the same. We could not live in a world full of just me's. I promise that would be a scary place. We'd have a lot of great ideas, but like 2% of them would get fully, realized. You know what I mean? Like, we would have a lot of fun sometimes and do absolutely nothing other times. So like, I have a lot of great things about myself, but
I completely
just me's would not be good for society.
Oh yeah. No, I completely
So thank
agree.
God we're different. Thank God we have different interests and different abilities and different ways that we, strengths and talents. Like, there's so much beauty in that.
Yes.
I mean, as humans, our diversity, not just in background, ethnicity, culture, like those kind of things, but in our abilities, in our skills, and our thought processes, to me, that is the color of the artwork of life and humanity. Right?
Yes.
That's what brings the interest, and that's what makes it all work together. So I just don't understand not doing it. Makes no sense to me.
No,
but we do it naturally, like what you're saying. Like that's the.
But why should we not be doing it? Why are we not doing it all the time? Personalized learning should be happening all the time. Yes. It is so easy and it's so innate, but we don't do it because it takes so much hard work because of those societal obstacles that we talk about.
Right.
Which are man-made, which are human-made, which can be destroyed. Yes. They really can. They can be dismantled, they can be destroyed.
Yes. And you can make it work for you. Like,
yes.
My mom was very good at this. My mom firmly believed, like, listen, I've got 6 kids. I wasn't planning on having any, so this is a big change. And my mom said, for her own self-preservation, she came up with systems in the house, and she came up with things that she made it work for her and work for us. She would put responsibility on us because she wasn't going to do it all, which is fair and right, like all that kind of stuff, and got to know us each differently and whatever. But I think it is doable if you say, I don't need to follow the rules of society.
Yes.
That what they're saying, I know from my personal experience that I don't fit in this round hole as my really flamboyant, colorful, diamond-shaped self. And I will not grind myself down, sand myself down, change myself to fit in that peg. Because I'm over here, I'm made to be the way I am.
Right.
And I think so many of us have felt that way in life at some point, that should be the thing we hold on to and say, I'm going to do this for my child because I don't want them to feel that way.
Right.
You know
I'm
what I
going to
mean?
do this for myself
And I'm
because I
gonna do
don't
this
want
for
to feel that
myself
way.
because I'm gonna validate who I am and like just own that and live in that and walk in that truth. And I think not just in learning, but in life in general, start with learning because then that opens it all up. But yeah, and it's where it's fun. And it,
Right.
like you said, it can be work if you're trying to fit into societal norms and
I
what
really
everyone says you're
believe that.
supposed to be. Like the
Right.
no child left behind thing, we've left a lot of children behind because that wasn't a personalized idea.
Right.
I'm one of 6 kids. I've said this a million times already today. But we each, all 6 of us, had very different schooling experiences, even. We had
Mm-hmm.
different extracurricular activities because we had different interests, we had different skills, we had different abilities. And like, so was it weird? Was it hard? Yeah, we had one car and we were driven around. Our parents drove us. We were all in the car driving each other to all
Wow.
of our different things. We all went and watched each other play different sports or your different performances or whatever the case may be. And it was just like, okay, yep. This one, Bethany plays soccer. Jeremy, he did baseball. He's really good at like art. He's good at engineering. Bethany's, really good at soccer and being funny and silly and just like bringing life to people. And Lauren is very strategic and she's a planner, hardworking. She's going to get everything done. She's classic, eldest daughter. Like all of us, you can see in each of us all these different traits. And I think so different. We grew up in
So
the same
different.
house, same parents,
Is that wild?
such different. No,
Oh,
because it's supposed
I
to be
think it's
that
so
way.
cool.
We are all different.
No, I didn't say weird. I think it's wild. I think it's
Oh,
crazy that
yeah.
like that science and
Oh, I see what you're saying.
faith
Right.
or whatever works that way. It's fascinating. It's
Right.
amazing.
Right.
Like it really is so phenomenal to see that happen and
Right.
for people to do that. It really is. We've talked about these challenges and these inhibitors, but in your home, personalizing is so easy.
Right.
And it really does. You talked about it too. Like it occurs at every age. You were talking about
Right.
sports. Like you were talking about art. You were talking about, there's so much freedom in your own environment in the way that you create your household or the way that you continue to grow yourself. And I really think that the home is where you can start noticing and spending time with yourself, even as an adult.
Yes.
To discover, like, how do you take in information? What do you like? What do you dislike? How do you handle stress?
Yep.
And you could do that for children. You could do that for infants.
Yep.
But you can also do it for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even in terms of like organizing my home.
Yes.
Right?
Tell people how you organize your home.
Oh my God. Well, right now I don't. No, I'm just kidding. But listen, I've tried for so long to do certain things and then you see how like on Instagram or whatever, and everyone has these like beautifully aesthetically pleasing houses and blah, 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 blah. There's I love, her name is Mama Cusses on TikTok and Instagram and all this stuff. And she's just very much out there like, listen, I have ADHD. This is how my brain works. So she like in her kitchen took the cabinets doors off. Because she has like object permanence, right? Where like if she doesn't see it, it doesn't exist. Okay. So I'm the same. I can be the same way. My partner can be the same way. However, we also get overstimulated with too much visual stuff happening. So taking my cabinet doors off would never work for me.
Sure.
Unless it was very organized and like pretty within that.
Right.
So we've kind of changed even like so that's kind of our thing now. We like, I don't do a whole lot of bins anymore that are not clear.
Yes, me too.
So fabric bins, all that stuff is going away. I do like drawers. And I'm very habitual. Things always go back in the same place. Like everything has to have a home because if it doesn't, it will. And we have different rules. Like we have different things that we say. Like, okay, I took this from someone else, I think on Instagram or TikTok or something. Hang on a second. I can't remember her name. I'll have to think of it. But basically she has this mantra of just like, don't put it down, put it away. Don't put it down, put it away. Don't put it down, put it away. Right. So like, I love this, again, those benefits of technology where you can see on Instagram, social media, people who are challenging these norms. Okay, I know I'm supposed to, quote unquote, air quotes, right? Have this picture perfect home that's fully clean and organized. And that does not work for me.
Right.
That's not who I am. That's not who we are. That's not our value system, all that kind of stuff. Here's what works for me. And so this is just how our home works.
Right.
Oh, Mama Custis went on to say, I watched another video of her recently. She's like, I have 15 water cups. I learned that about myself, and they all have homes. Like, she's like, I have my desk water cup. I have my nightstand water cup. I have my car water cup. And that's where they stay. Because if I don't have a cup with me of water, I won't drink it and I won't remember to take it with me. And so she's like, I just made the system and it works. And I just think there's so much value in that too, right? Just learning yourself and then personalizing and learning
what
your world
works and what doesn't.
Exactly.
Right.
And then applying that logic.
That would never work for me.
Right. See, and that's the thing, right? Like, and that's what I think is at the end of the day, if nothing else, take that away from what we're saying, right? Like, if it doesn't work for you, you are not broken.
Right.
You are not wrong. You are not weird. There's like, it's just that it just doesn't work for you.
And you learned. You learned that it doesn't work for you. Good
and
for you.
That's totally fine.
Right.
Right? Like,
that's amazing.
It's learning it, identifying it, learning it, accepting it, honoring it.
Yes.
Right? Like, which is the parts of the learning process. Taking it in.
Right.
Strategically kind of processing it, strategically storing it, and then using it. It's all those same 4 steps, just applied in a different context.
Right.
And we could do that for our kids. And I just think, going back to my family, let me just say this too. Mm-hmm. I had a beautiful and amazing opportunity to go to a school that was made for the way my brain works. I'm very, very lucky in that fact. Now, the weird part about that to me is the stigma that was attached to it. Okay. So this was a place where I thrived because it met just a very blanket objective thing about how my brain works. But people have this like stigma about it, this stereotype. Okay. I realized as an adult, I met someone I don't even live in my hometown, right? I live far away from it. I met someone here who actually grew up in the same hometown I did.
Oh.
We're both adults, both working at the same place, right? And when you meet someone from your hometown, what's the first thing you ask them? Dude, what school did you go to? Right? So she asked me the question. To this day, I hate answering this question for people from my hometown because I know what they're going to say. I say what school I went to, and very instantly, oh, you're one of those. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Except for the fact that I understand that you feel a certain type of way about me going there and you not going there.
Right.
All I know is that worked for me objectively. There's no emotion, no nothing in that statement. Because it was destigmatized for me. It didn't mean anything to me. It was just a school that met my needs. And I realized that like there are so many wounds a lot of us carry from those traditional learning experiences, not to the fault of the teachers or anything like that. Please don't ever hear that. As educators, we support educators. But the system doesn't always work. And but it's not even the system, it's the stigmas, right? It's the norms of society and then the stigmas that go with learning differently or stepping outside of those norms. That's the problem, I think. That's what stands in the way for a lot of like personalization. Because it should have just been, oh, cool. Okay, I went to this school and that worked for me. And you went to that school that worked for you. That to me is the conversation that should happen.
But that's the thing, is that it didn't work for that person. And because they didn't have a personalized learning experience.
But they were just so hung up on the fact that they didn't go to this one.
It could be. You know what I mean? It very well could be. It sounds more, though, you had this great experience, which honestly, it's interesting from becoming a learner to being a learning mentor, how many people don't have positive experiences that work for their brain. My parents, it was really interesting. My parents told me that and I've told you this story 100 times, the college that I wanted to go to, because I'm one of those people who really wanted to go to college because there were so many things that I still wanted to learn that I didn't feel like when I graduated high school, I can learn I could have had access to learning in the way that I wanted it.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
for me, my parents were like, you cannot go to that school because it doesn't have the major that you're hoping to continue to study.
Gotcha.
And I was
Yeah.
like, but the culture. So for me, the schools that I went to were a lot of more, for me, it wasn't necessarily about how my brain worked. It was about the culture. I needed to feel like I was at home, or at least feel comfortable in my own skin. Whereas my older sister needed like a traditional educational setting that would constantly stimulate her brain. My younger sister needed one that would stimulate her athleticism.
Right.
And I needed something that would do theater, athletics, music, and my athleticism, and also make me feel like part of a community.
Right.
So we didn't all go to the same schools. We didn't all have the same experiences. We did. Some of the schools we went to were great. And
which, I mean, you shouldn't have gone. Like, it's beautiful. That makes sense to me. That's how it should be. That's personalized for you.
But you've also heard me say a million times too, that education, but learning is the most, I mean, it's just wild how different the experiences can be.
Yes.
And how drastically, for every reason, economic, cultural, social, you name it, it's just the discrepancies are wild.
Yes.
I mean, it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not equitable. It's not equitable. It's the most inequitable thing that exists.
100%.
Is learning.
Right.
And I find that personalized learning,
unfortunately, you're
the
right.
more personalized learning experiences that can happen, the more transformational your life can be.
Yes.
And it creates lifelong learners. It creates intentional learners. It creates curious learners. It creates active learners. And it breaks anti-learning and anti-educational systematic issues on a global level. Yes. Tell me it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
Right. It really does. Like offer personalized learning experience and do it for yourself. As an adult female, like I am telling you that personalized learning has changed my life.
Yeah.
My life. Yeah. There are so many things that I don't worry about as much anymore. Time is always going to be a construct that whatever society you live in, you have different opinions on.
Right.
But I got an email the other day, and you know, it's before a national holiday and whatever. And it just said, it usually takes me 3 to 5 days to get back. I want to make sure that I've processed. It was something along the lines of that. And I'm sure I know there's been viral examples of this. And it's so great to know that other people are actually doing this.
Yes.
That slow living that you and I believe in so much.
Yeah.
And the being intentional and being an intentional learner. But
I love,
what an example. What an example to send out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's personalized to that person in their business.
Right.
And they don't work for themselves.
Right.
Like this is a person who works for somebody else. And it's like, just so you know, 3 to 5 days, I'll get back to you, except on holidays, except on weekends.
Right.
You know, please don't feel like you need to get back to me right away either. I was like, this is brilliant.
Yes.
And you can personalize your jobs.
Yes.
And it seems impossible, but you really can.
Right.
And it's a lot easier to talk about as someone who was in a traditional educational institution. Yeah. But I'm telling you, there are so many ways that I've helped my husband personalize his job, my sisters, my family members, my cousins, my friends. Yeah. You can do it. And it feels awful at first sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
It really does.
It's a whole adjustment for sure.
It's a mindset adjustment.
Yep.
But personalizing things, and you do it small steps.
Yes.
Do it in small steps. If you're leading a meeting, personalize it to the way that you know you need the information, but your team needs the information too. And that's the other thing people don't understand. You can personalize things for you and personalize things for others in the same environment.
Exactly. Exactly. And in so doing, right? Like, because I do this all the time as an educator, right? Mm-hmm. I am trying to find the language for the person I'm working with. Okay. Mm-hmm. Trying to find how they operate, what they need. Because I'm going to tell you a secret. I live for that aha moment.
Yes.
My favorite I don't know if it's word, sound, whatever in the world, is this one. Oh. Oh, that's my favorite thing in the whole entire universe.
Yeah.
I get it. Oh, I see. Okay. Favorite thing in the world. And I think that, like, by trying to find someone else's language, so I'm personalizing for somebody else.
Right.
I'm learning and seeing something from so many different perspectives. So
Right.
I'm learning and growing at the exact same time. I'm like, oh, wait, I never thought of it from that angle before either. Oh, wait, that actually makes it make more sense to me now that I taught them that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's such a fun thing. And watching someone in that aha moment, because not only is it like super cool and like, I feel like I just helped you tap into another piece of yourself, but also it's so validating for the learner to be like,
right.
oh, okay. I get it now because you took the time to change it for me, like to switch it up and put it in a language that I understand. And okay, because now that's taught me a few things as a learner, right? Now I know I matter. That's pretty cool. Now I know how I operate is okay. Awesome. And I know that I can
do it. Yep.
Right. And all it took was me taking the time to try to personalize a little bit.
Right.
And make it make sense for them. And in that moment, you are changing so many things, not just teaching them information, that academic factoid or whatever it was that you're trying to teach them. You taught so much more.
Right.
And that's the crux of intentional learning, right? That it is not, I'm teaching you one thing and one thing only. Right. Through intentional learning and intentional instruction, intentional teaching, the goal is that you are going to learn the fact I'm trying to teach you, something about yourself, something about the world, and hopefully that you matter in some way. Right? Like,
that should be what's reinforced.
Exactly. And it's so much more. Like, I have told teachers so many times, I know you're a math teacher, but you're teaching far more than math.
Right.
Right? And like, as a parent, yes, you're teaching them how to put their shoes on, or how to tie their shoes, or how to clean up their room, or how to stab the broccoli with their fork. You know what I mean? Like, you're teaching them all these skills throughout the day nonstop.
Right.
But you're teaching so much more. You're teaching them that they matter. You're teaching them that they, how they're made is okay, that's great. Right. You're teaching them that they are valuable as they are. And you're teaching them that they don't have to stop there. They have that potential for unlimited change as they keep going throughout life.
Right. And honestly, everything
that's better
that
than
saying,
1 + 1 is 2.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
I mean, listen, the thing,
which is important.
You and I both know, teaching facts, especially as you get up into higher levels, it's not that it's not needed. It's just that it's not necessarily going to be applied to every single individual's lives.
Right.
And I think the thing that you were talking about is all of the things that you just mentioned can absolutely and should absolutely be applied to adults in any setting. I feel
1,000%.
so vehemently passionate about that because, and I hate this word, I really do, as a boss, and I'm going to X that out in red writing. You are not a boss. I'm sorry, you're not a boss. You should be a leader. You should not be calling yourself the boss of anybody.
Right.
It's a disgusting word. It's a dirty word. And the reason that it is because it's
4
been
letters,
so...
and we all know that the bad words are 4 letters. Some of my favorite words are 4 letters long.
Yeah, I was
and they're the bad ones. Wait a second. Okay.
I
Not
love
that one. Not that
4-letter words.
Yeah, me too.
But I do. I really believe, and you and I have had great boss exit out in red highlighter, whatever.
Yeah.
Leaders. We have had wonderful leaders.
Yeah.
We have also had bad bosses.
Yep.
So they exist. Both exist. But what I will say again is personalizing an learning experience for the people that work with you, for you, etc. changes a culture in a business world. And it is so simple. If you're selling a product, if you're selling anything, even if you're not selling something, if you're providing a service, it doesn't matter. It can be done. It should be done. And if you're not doing it, I guarantee there is someone in a company right now that is doing it. And they're probably doing it well. And the people they work with love them.
And they're going to be more successful.
Yes.
They're going to do the job better. Whatever goal, whatever your business's goal is. There's just so many ways in our everyday life that we personalize and can personalize that extends to our kids and our thinking and our learning as well. And another thing I think you were getting at is that we say learners a lot because we are like, I know we don't love the lifelong learner idea either, although it's great alliteration.
It feels cliche, but it is
just a cliche term that has lost meaning at this point. Mm-hmm. But a lifelong learner, someone who is like intentionally learning throughout their whole life, you know what else they're doing? Thinking critically and problem solving.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So like intentional learning yields quality thinking and problem solve. Critical thinking, quality thinking, however you think about
quality,
that. They both work. And problem solving, which really is like, that's the skills we need for life. I don't need chemistry, but I do need to know how to think. I do need to know how to put ideas together. I need to know how to make connections. Sure. I need to understand, like, I'm not a chemist, but there are parts of chemistry, things I can learn within that, ideas and concepts I can learn within that if I'm thinking like a problem solver and thinking intentionally, I can apply that to so many aspects of my life.
Right.
And that's the thing about it, right? Like if we are personalizing, it's so much easier to become an intentional thinker and learner. And if you're an intentional learner, you're going to become a problem solver and a critical thinker.
Right.
And it all, to me, it just keeps coming back to like just destigmatizing these things.
Well, and that's honestly, when I presented on personalized learning, I used to always say the greatest gift that you get out of personalized learning is destigmatizing learners and the learning process.
Yep.
And it really is true. I think the other part of all of this that we've continued to mention throughout is just that we know, and we talked about this in the last conversation, that there are always going to be obstacles. We're not ignoring that.
Right.
One of the
especially knowing that learning and education is the most inequitable thing.
Right.
There are always challenges. Some of us have more challenges than others.
Right.
And we're not going to sit here and say this is a perfect world and that's not going to exist the second you start personalizing.
Right.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you for sure.
I do think some things we've hinted at today, though, have to do with the process of unlearning societal norms, unlearning things we've been told, unlearning bad experiences that have taught us things that should forward our learning.
Unlearning those internalized messages, whether it was outright taught, but like the stuff that we learned through those experiences or whatever. Yeah.
I do think that those are sometimes the inhibitors of personalized learning, even as an adult. Yep. So I think it's worth a dive into unlearning for next time.
Let's talk about that. That sounds fun.
That sounds
same place, same time?
Same place, same time.
See you then.
See ya.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Everything is Learning.
We'll catch you next time.